Well, we're back on the Chat GPT program here, Tom. We've asked 6 important questions of the Chat GPT. We're going to talk about these 6 questions, folks, with noted criminal defense attorney Tom Grieve. And Tom, you're a former state prosecutor, so as we roll out some of these answers, you'll be able to answer go to jail or not go to jail. So, should you carry a round in the chamber? That's the eternal debate, apparently, for readers of Concealed Carry magazine as well. And ChatGPT is giving us pretty much standard answers as we go through these. The decision whether to carry a firearm with a round in the chamber or not is a personal one that depends on individual preferences. That's some pretty in-depth, powerful stuff we got there. Your training and the laws regarding your jurisdiction. Again, I would call that response 99% fact-free. So it might be true.
Yeah. I mean, this is listening to a lawyer talk.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, I don't know.
Self-burn.
Yeah, I don't know if
kind.
It's that bad.
So, wow. Just throwing some gas on that, huh? All right. Fair enough.
Keep that fire going. For some people, carrying with a round in a chamber provides a higher level of readiness and a faster response time. And then it goes into, however, it increases the risk of accidental or is it negligent discharge? And then on the other hand, carrying a firearm with an empty chamber reduces the risk of negligent accidental discharge, but requires more time to prepare a self-defense situation. And here's where we start to see, as we go through these, you'll see these over and over again. Ultimately, the decision to carry around in the chamber should not be based, should not, I got this, I'm reading, on careful consideration of the relevant laws and regulations, as well as the individual's training experience and personal preferences. As you're reading through this, does anything stand out as like, wow, that was really profound and insightful, ChatGPT? What's going on?
I mean, if you're on day 1 of firearm ownership, there's one expressed thought of here's the pro, here's the con, and then in the next paragraph they kind of flip the two of them.
Here's the con, here's the pro.
Right, yeah, right. They reverse the position.
It interests me that it didn't say anything about the fact that modern firearms are built to carry with a round in the chamber. And if they are properly cared for and in good working condition, it is perfectly safe to carry with a round in the chamber. Police officers do it all the time, day in and day out. And I don't know that just having the round in the chamber really increases the odds of a negligent discharge. Maybe it does in some way, shape, or form because you have to have a round in the chamber for the gun to discharge.
Right. Yeah, 100% negligent discharges happen with loaded firearms, right?
Yep.
But yeah, it's, I mean, look, if I have not read these, like you are seeing me react live here, so to speak. If Kevin, as the editor and king of Concealed Carry magazine, that's your title, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
A sub-deity, really. Not a monarch, but a sub-deity.
So far, I'm seeing real good job security for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would be red penning this thing all over the place for redundancies and cite your facts and all sorts of things that happen there. So this one we tried to stump the artificial intelligence by saying, should you answer the door at 3 a.m.? And seeing what they would give us for some self-defense information. And again, it all sounds the same. So kids, if you're going to use this to do your homework, understand that your homework is going to sound just like your classmates' homework if you're using Chat.
And you're going to get a poor grade, too.
Yeah, absolutely. The decision whether to answer the door or not depends on individual circumstances and personal preferences. Yes, it does. Do you feel safe and secure in your home, Tom?
I do.
Oh, okay. So then you might want to, according to this AI, answer the door. And it might be the right thing to do. However, if you have an uneasy feeling, as yet undefined, as what might cause you to have an uneasy feeling about the situation, you might want to avoid answering the door. And here we go again. Final paragraph. Ultimately, the decision to answer the door at 3 a.m. or not should be based on careful consideration of your personal safety. They're not giving us any information of what you should consider.
This is like if you just, you took like a dinner, or you went to, I don't know, insert your worst fast food chain you want to pick on here. And like, you took out all of the protein. I'm not going to really call it meat. We won't get into that debate, but we just took out all the protein and you just left like all of like the crumbs and all the junk. Like that's what this is.
Yeah.
This is very lean on information, very high on, frankly, empty lawyer talk is just what this is.
And I'll ask you on this specific question, what would make you not answer the door? Because that's what people really want to know.
What would make me not answer the door?
Someone's knocking at your door at 3 a.m. What is your indicator? I'm not going to go open that door.
If I don't know them, is probably a good start to that.
You didn't expect them to come over?
I did, right, exactly. They're an uninvited guest. One of those nice things is, you've got Ring doorbells and all that kind of stuff, so you can obviously interact with them.
Yep.
Or, of course, for folks who don't have that, you can also interact with them by shouting through the door, who are you? And unless you feel just ace is great about what's going to happen when you open that door, and, there's for sure no one else bad around, just around the corner, and they're all going to come rushing in.
Yeah.
Otherwise that door's staying closed.
Well, yeah, it's... I wish there was more. I wish this was better, but it's not. I'm actually enjoying making fun of this. We're going to talk about the great caliber debate in just a minute, but first, we have a super secret giveaway going on right now that you can enter for free, but it ends really soon. Just click the link in the description below to reveal what it is. And here's a hint. It's gun-shaped. So, artificial intelligence is going to weigh in with all the knowledge in the known universe on the value of 9mm or 45 ACP. So the answer to which is better is subjective and depends on individual preferences, intended use, and specific circumstances. 9mm is a popular choice for self-defense and concealed carry due to its lighter recoil and higher magazine capacity. It also tends to be less expensive and more readily available than 45. On the other hand, 45 is known for its stopping power. Is it, though? That's a debate that maybe we don't want to get into right now.
If you want to see us get into that debate, let us know in the comments section below.
Yeah, if you want us to talk about 9mm versus 45.
Because I think we both have a lot we could say about that.
Yep, and absolutely. And then the final paragraph again, ultimately, the choice between 9mm depends on factors such as individual personal preference, shooting experience, and intended use. This is not providing people any real solid information about how to make a choice.
Yeah.
Let's have 3 minutes on this. I prefer 9mm because a lighter recoiling round is going to be more accurate, and there is no handgun round that is big enough to give you that lightning bolt Hollywood stop effect. Actually, my personal favorite round is .357 SIG, but 9mm is easier to get. So, your turn. What do you like?
So ever since, of course, post the 1986 Miami-Dade shootout, the FBI got into the ballistics gel game, and they started stacking data information. And back in the 90s, there was, of course, this debate, really even into the aughts, about do we want to be chasing morgues and police reports to see which rounds are effective, taking into account that there's a million variables that are never in those police reports, like exact distance, angles, just what were they wearing, on and on and on. Versus, are we going to trust the ballistics gel, which at the time, we only had about a decade or so worth of data. Here in the year 2023, we are not in the same position that we were in 20 years ago. At this point, to my knowledge, based on everything that I've seen and I've read, this is a pretty settled arena of rounds that tend to do this well on the ballistics gelatin tests for the FBI, which is multi-stage, shooting through barriers, penetration, just all sorts of different things, right? It's not just blasting into this gel block. But rounds that do well there very tightly map to rounds that do really well in real life. What does really well? Basically high quality, current production 9mm. That's what does really, really well. So to my mind, while I love 10mm, I carry 10mm if I'm worried about four-legged problems. And there's nothing wrong with 45 ACP or even 40 Smith & Wesson. It's really hard to make an argument against 9mm, provided that you're carrying high quality hollow point ammunition.
Well, ammunition notwithstanding, we're asking the other question that everybody wants to know about. If someone breaks into your house unarmed, can you shoot them? And I'm going to save whatever it is your hourly fee, and I'm just going to call it up here on this chatbot and let artificial intelligence give me my legal advice. The legality of using a firearm to defend yourself in the event of a home invasion depends on the specific laws and regulations of your jurisdiction. Thank you for not telling us anything, chatbot AI. It does say, though, in general, the use of lethal force for self-defense is only justified if you have a reasonable belief that someone else or you are in danger, imminent danger of death or great bodily harm. We've used that before, so pick that up somewhere off.
But wait for it. Yeah. What's the next clause? What does it say next?
Yeah. However, even in the event of home invasion, it is important to consider the potential consequences of using a firearm. So, there is also no alternative means of escape or protection.
That one. So, that one. Oops. Yeah, that one. This is something that I saw former Attorney General Eric Holder comment on about the fact that basically it's some sort of long-established tradition that there's always been a duty to retreat, which is exactly what the AI bot has literally inserted into self-defense law.
Yeah.
And not only self-defense law. We're not even talking self-defense in the street. We're talking in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So, to my knowledge, there are, give or take, about 11 states in the country where there is some version of duty to retreat or something like that. To my knowledge, keeping in mind I haven't looked all the way up and down Connecticut law or something like that, which is one of the states in question, I believe they all exempt the home from that.
Mm-hmm.
If I am right, then this is 100% wrong. If I am wrong, I will get flamed in the comment section, so I will know.
Yeah.
I am not claiming to have perfect knowledge about this. This is just kind of like passive research and glancing around I've been doing on and off for years, but which I'm now summoning up for everybody here on a moment's notice. But yeah, no, the AI has instituted a duty to retreat in the home. There's no mention of castle doctrine. There's no mention of stand your ground. There's no mention of any of that here. They've discarded basically the last 30, 40 years of legislative advancements and case law.
Yeah. And as I look further on down the list of here, you should consider the consequences of using a firearm, including criminal charges, civil lawsuits, and psychological trauma. Apparently, the psychological trauma of stopping a deadly assault is so great that you shouldn't consider stopping a deadly assault. I don't know what AI is thinking here. But here's the one that really kind of makes me laugh. It may be safer to call the authorities and let them handle the situation rather than attempting to defend yourself with a firearm. If you feel threatened, it's important to have a plan in place for securing your safety and that of your loved ones, and to stay calm and consider all your options before taking any action. We're not talking about police response time or anything of that nature, or how much damage can be done while you're waiting for the cops.
Right.
It's
no one's ever been killed while waiting for 911 to come.
No,
right?
Never. Not that. We've not recorded any of those deaths either on the 911 calls. So here we go on number 5. What should I tell police after a self-defense shooting? And this one, if you're involved in a self-defense shooting, it's important to remain calm and take steps to protect your rights and safety. Here are some of the steps. Call the police. Secure the scene. Okay, so if possible, secure the area and preserve any physical evidence that may be relevant to the investigation. No mention of how. No mention of there. Provide medical aid. If necessary, provide medical aid to injured individuals, including yourself. Yes, treat yourself. I'm saying 100% wrong. I'm not going near the bad guy. My duty to provide medical aid is calling 911, and medical aid will arrive. I'm not going to go let him try to attack me again. Stay quiet. Avoid making any statements or confessions until you've had a chance to speak with an attorney. I like that. It's actually pretty solid there. The right to remain silent is a fundamental aspect of American justice system. Great, and exercise that right if you're involved in a shooting. And then, of course, contact an attorney. They don't give you any idea about how or when you're going to do that or what's going to happen to you afterward. And then again, they tell us ultimately every situation is different.
Right.
And specific actions you take after a self-defense shooting will depend on the specific circumstances and laws.
So I'd
in
say
the
this is the
jurisdiction.
least. This is probably the best one, where it gave you actual content,
Yeah.
gave you actual value, and it wasn't obviously wrong. I say obviously wrong because there's things we can nitpick here, like, for instance, the provide medical aid, if necessary, provide medical aid to any injured individuals, including yourself. Does that mean that it's saying you have to give aid to the bad guy who just tried to put a bullet through your head?
Right.
It would seem that that's what it's saying. I can't remember any time when a victim who had to use a firearm in a defensive capacity immediately pulled out the old yellow roll of police tape and started securing the scene. I'm going to go on a limb and give it the benefit of the doubt. That's not quite what they meant. But again, the problem is, okay, so you should go out there and preserve evidence. What I hear people tampering with evidence if they wind up following this, because they're going to go around picking up casings and doing this and that.
I'm securing the scene like
Right,
the
right.
AI bot told me to. I also see up here where it says after you call the police, give them your name and address and remain at the scene. That's
Not if the scene isn't safe.
Yeah,
right?
not a given. If you're not safe, move to a position of tactical advantage, folks, and get yourself to safety, because the first thing is to survive, and that's what we want you to do.
This was mostly not going to get you killed or send you to jail. There were some things that will get you potentially killed or go to jail. But if we're grading on the curve of how the chatbot's doing, that's probably one of their better ones, actually.
Well, maybe it was one of the easier ones. Who knows? When is it legal to draw your gun? So this one just sort of goes on and on. The legality of drawing a firearm in self-defense varies. You say that all the time. It depends. When is it legal? Additionally, even if the use of a firearm in self-defense is justified, it's important to consider the potential consequences. And we tell folks all the time it should be the last thing that you do. So I guess if we're getting into that area, and it mentions again criminal charges, civil lawsuits, psychological trauma, it's picking up the same things over and over again. You can see that start to happening. Be familiar with the laws and regulations. I like this one. Advice of a qualified firearms instructor or legal professional for guidance on the best course of action. That might be some of the best advice it has given so far.
That's probably about, other than keep your mouth shut following a defensive gun use, that's probably, I'm going to say this is the second best piece of information it's given us.
Yeah.
If you only got one thing out of the first 5 questions, it's after defensive gun use. I'd say 1 and 1A of understand the laws, get proper education, training, and then shut up following a defensive gun use. That's what I would say.
And as we get into the next paragraph, the last paragraph here, number 5, should only be used as a last resort. Yes, that is something we recommend. But then it says when all other options have been exhausted and you are in immediate danger. And I don't think you have to try all other options. You just have to understand that there are other options and you reasonably believe those options would not work.
Right.
So,
but once again, that duty to retreat it's creating.
Yeah, it is. It's adding something that isn't there. I like that it says have a plan in place. I don't know. Maybe we could ask it to develop a plan for us in the next episode and see what it comes up with for a self-defense plan. But good tidbits in here, a few good pieces that we can work with. But truly, what we're finding out as we look more and more at the chatbot as the artificial intelligence world is expanding around us. Not a lot of what I would call great advice, and I certainly wouldn't bet my life on it or my freedom. I don't think you would either.
Not only not a lot of great advice and on a valued diet of light advice, but some absolutely incorrect advice, some absolutely incorrect information, and not just like, oh, that's incorrect in a technical way, ha ha ha, let's poke fun at it, but incorrect in a, no, that could get you killed. Nope, that can send you to prison. Like, big deal, incorrect things. Total misstatements, misleading statements about the status of the law. Big deal stuff. So
absolutely.
We both have job security for a while at least.
Yeah, I'm feeling real good about this. And folks, if you want the right answers, read Concealed Carry Magazine and watch Tom and I here on this YouTube channel, because we're giving you the right answers. The chatbots, the artificial intelligence is just that, artificial. So thanks again for being here, Tom. Love the insight. Always happy to have you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Want to know the 3 biggest mistakes when carrying a handgun? Then click on the video next to me to reveal all 3 mistakes. Mistake number 2 may shock you. Everybody has their own cardinal rules for what they're going to do when they're carrying a gun. But right now, I'm going to give you 3 things that you must never do